You know what would be a good video? If we just film me taking a massive turd. It would be way better quality than this.
It's true.
Suffice it to
There'd be
say,
less shit on screen.
the shit train continues because we're back, baby! And by back, I mean we're back to a series that resembles all our other series. That's right, series. And the series is Stephen King's Shit or Hit, where two fat fucks decide if a Stephen King-based movie is actually pretty cool or not.
Yep. I mean, you could have said the name of the series,
I could have.
Shit or Hit, but okay.
Yeah, man. So we're kind of doing like a little cheat here.
Yeah.
Because this movie is actually based on this video is actually about Creepshow 2, which really only has one story in it that's actually based on a Stephen King
But it's billed
story.
as...
It is billed as being, based on the work of Stephen King, so I guess that's enough. But what he established with Creepshow 1 in terms of him writing the script continues in spirit here, so it is very much the result of the first one, couldn't have been there without it, not just because it's a sequel, because they kept that spirit alive, so I consider that worthy. I will say this, originally the movie had 5 segments, just like the first one, and one of those segments was going to be based on The Cat from Hell, which is a Stephen King story, but they cut it because of budget reasons.
Cat effects?
Yeah, they probably wouldn't have been very convincing. However, that story did eventually get made in the Tales from the Dark Side movie, and while it's very entertaining, yeah, the cat effects didn't. It was a good idea that they cut it out. Another one was Pinfall, and again, it doesn't exist anywhere else but in the script. Word on the street though is that it got crowdfunded to be actually filmed, and yeah,
Stunk.
nobody ever saw that.
All
but
right.
anyway, the thing did. Look, I got to tell you off the top, and I don't know if you'll have the same opinion, but a lot of people think this movie isn't that great. Would you say you are of the same mind?
It's hard because I don't think it's as good as the first one, but I also don't think it sucks. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it sucks.
I'm kind of with you because when I first saw it, Creepshow was like fucking...
Yeah, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, it's golden, man. Just as a fan of horror and a fan of EC Comics, I loved Creepshow. So I was very excited when I found... I mean, it was already out.
Yeah.
But, when I found out there was a Creepshow 2 and I had to get it, and I went to my local mom and pop shop, rented that bad boy, and popped it in. And although I enjoyed it, yeah, I had that feeling this is not as cool. But I will say this: every progressive time I watch it, my appreciation for this movie grows exponentially. And I dare say that my reaction, and I'm gonna even go as far as to canvass everybody with this, and I think a lot of people's reactions were rooted in this. One, it doesn't have as many stories as the first one, so you kind of feel gypped. And then on top of that, the animated wraparound kind of throws a lot of people off. I know it did me as a kid. I was like, that's not as cool as something live action, So yeah, it kind of felt like it wasn't enough there. But again, like I said, every time I've rewatched it, it's really appreciated and valued to the point where, to a certain degree, I enjoy it as much. I will say this has my favorite story of all of the Creepshow movies. And that's the first one. Old Chief Woodenhead. Of all the Creepshow short stories, that's my absolute favorite. But we'll get to that right now. This movie was written by George Romero, and he overlooked it executive producer style. Like I said, one of the segments is based on a Stephen King story, and that's The Raft, the second segment in the whole affair. And the rest are just kind of, he's freeballing it. The Hitchhiker is really kind of like not even really an original story. It's kind of based like on an urban legend, really. So, you know, there's that. But just like we said in the first one, if you really, really look into it, the one that is based on a pre-existing Stephen King story, it really is not a moralistic tale like the other ones. Although this one has a lot more of that moral quality to a degree than the ones in Creepshow 1 that were based on previous Stephen King stories, in the sense that it has the horror movie morals. You know, the kids that smoke and drug and drink and have sex
and suck,
get their comeuppance. But those are very scant rules to go by, so we're really just pushing the limit there. But anyway, let's talk about this ass sweet of a movie, and by that I mean it's actually kind of cool. But the movie wasn't directed by George Romero. He wrote it, and he actually handed off the direction duties to Michael Gornick, his director of photography on the first movie. What do you think about that? Good idea? Bad idea?
Here's the... I mean, it was an alright idea.
Okay.
Like that.
I actually think... I actually really love what he did here. He gave it a very distinct taste. You know, it was still very much in the vein of Creepshow, but he didn't go to the extremes that Creepshow did. But I think that was a conscious choice. And you could tell because each segment has its particular taste. Even the wraparound, you know, when it's live action, it just gets, I don't know about you, but it gets you in the mood.
I really like the feel of the wraparound.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll say that.
Yeah, it gets you in the mood to see something like an anthology. And again, each segment has a particular taste and visual style. You know, some he pushes a little bit more than the other, but the one that really sticks out for me is the first segment, Old Chief Woodenhead. You know, he really does something to give it that distinct taste. Even with the camera work, you know, he makes some choices and shots and camera work that are pretty cool, I think. The one I'm talking about in particular is the choice to use shadow in one scene rather than just show the gore.
I think that was more because it would look like shit otherwise.
I don't think so. I mean, he was just hacking somebody. I mean, they did more with the other scenes, and you know, and they could have just kept doing that with the other scenes, and they didn't. And on top of that, there was that over the head shot that went when he was attacking, you know, the young Indian asshole.
That was cool. That was a cool shot.
Yeah, they did that over the head shot, which was really neat. You know, yeah, and again, each one has its particular taste. You know, they didn't go with lighting this thing in bright colors and, you know, splash panel shots and stuff like that. They didn't do any of that, but it still felt like a natural progression of the first one, I think. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I'm in the middle.
All right. Anything you want to add in addition to that?
No, I will agree with you that shot was cool. Mm-hmm. I would say the first one has the most of that, like kind of like workarounds. I saw more as workarounds around the effect, but they were neat anyway, so it was still cool to see them.
Okay.
As they go along, I think they kind of go down in the more style, you know, like the more stylized look of it, or the shots, I should say. But the first one's definitely cool, and I really like the look, like I said, of the wraparound.
Yeah.
The live action stuff, I guess, which is very short, but it looks like you said, it gets you in the mood of watching something.
Yeah, it does. Now, this movie doesn't have as many big name actors and you know, kind of guest star roles. In fact, it has none really. But it does have Tom Savini making a under the makeup cameo as the creep himself, and our horror host, if you will. And it has Stephen King return in a cameo, which is of course always fun to see him in this type of thing. Now the creep looks distinctly different in this. He in fact looks a lot more like the horror host of EC Comics, and he acts a lot more like them. A lot of people did complain about the creep in this.
I actually like him.
Yeah, I mean, that fit in more to the mold of the original Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror comics than anything. Down to the bad puns and the gallows humor and all that shit. That's how those characters acted. So I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And
now, is it as cool or like? No, I'll say this: is it as creepy as the one in the first one? No, but it's very much of those comics, and it's there for a reason. It was cool.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I actually like this one more. You know, like I said, every time I watch this, I appreciate it a lot more than I originally did. And yeah, man, I actually kind of enjoyed it more. Again, because it harkens back a lot more to that. Yeah, but you're right. It's not as creepy.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you only see the host in the first one once.
Yeah, for like a
and
glimpse.
And it turns into that animated thing, which looks really good.
And here again, when we see him go from live action to animated, here he has a lot more to do for one.
Yeah.
And so he gets to act a lot more like the horror host of the old comics. And yeah, man, I just thought it was pretty neat. It was a good tip of the hat. Whereas the first one went for a more visual style, this one went for a more of the feel in terms of that, you know, capturing the transition between the stories and, you know, keeping that anthology feel alive throughout the whole thing. But anyway, let's get to the individual segments in this. The first one is the Old Chief Woodenhead, which we already mentioned. I already tell you this is my favorite, not only in this movie, but if you put them all together, it's my favorite of all the segments. Where would you put this one in this particular film? 1, 2, or 3? There's only 3. Would this be your favorite, your least favorite, or right in the middle?
I think it's in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But it is one of the better ones. I think, I don't know, man. I think some of the negatives I have for this one is mainly an actor in it. But she is only in there for like a second, so I don't mind it too much. But it is very cool.
In Chief Woodenhead?
Yeah.
Who?
The wife is, woo, she wasn't good.
You know, I kind of like that, though. I mean, there wasn't a lot of actors. Again, it goes with the kind of like the hamminess of the whole thing, you know. I mean, you could say the same thing for the first one. There was some actors that were not, but it all kind of works out. But yeah, I get you. I mean, yeah. she was... a wooden?
Very wooden.
But I didn't mind that at all.
In this one, she was the most wooden thing. And there was literally a wood
character. Fucking guy. Yeah, no, I actually really enjoyed her. What I like about this segment the most is that her and her husband, specifically her husband, are portrayed like the good guys, period. There is no gray area. These are good people. Honest, likable characters. You know, so the story, if you haven't seen this, is about an old couple, shop owners in a, you know, almost a ghost town of a, you know, I guess it's a desert town, you know, and they've basically been giving credit to the local Indian tribe which inhabit the area, and they're kind of in, you know, they're not doing very well financially themselves, and the wife is kind of pushing at him to not be so considerate of people because it's sinking them too.
You got to stop being so nice.
Yeah. And he has an old cigar store Indian out front of the shop that he takes care of. You know, brightens up his war paint all the time and what have you. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the local Indian tribe, deciding they're far too in debt with the man, give them their prized jewels and say, here, you can have these until we pay you back. And, you know, even they are portrayed.
He reluctantly takes it.
Yeah, he very reluctantly takes it. But the Indian tribe is portrayed just as well. Yeah, honorable people, good people, you know, at the core. Well, yeah, he takes them, reluctantly so. And lo and behold, the chief's nephew, who's a scumbag.
He is a scumbag.
Decides.
But he's kind of a fun to watch scumbag.
Yeah, him and his cronies decide they're gonna not only rob him of his money and his store, but they're also gonna take the tribe's offering, and they're gonna go to Hollywood, where this guy, so selfish and vainglorious, thinks that he's gonna be the next big star, and that sets off a series of events. Namely, the cigar store Indian comes back to life and enacts vengeance, or I should say, comes to life, not comes back to life, and enacts vengeance.
I mean, he was already alive though.
Yeah.
But now he's like, yo, now I'm alive.
He's ambulant.
I'm going to go kill some folk.
Yeah, but this is straight out of EC Comics, you know. Again, the good guys are distinctly good guys, and the bad guys are just scum of the fucking earth, you know. Mm-hmm. Loudmouth braggarts and complete assholes. Yeah, I gotta say.
Yeah, I saw you sucking Fat's dick off.
Yeah, well, not just Fat's. All of them, Rich Boy and
I like Rich Guy
and Sam. I
hated Fats at first, but then I gotta say, the more fat The more he committed to his fatness, I kind of liked him.
He wasn't even robbing at one point. He was just eating.
I mean, the guy's like, "Yo, y'all gotta get ready. I'm gonna pick y'all up." Cut to him eating.
Yeah.
And watching a show that's takes forever to get anywhere, like this video.
I love how 80s stereotypes the fucking his little gang is.
Yeah.
You know, they're just fucking straight up stereotypes. No redeeming qualities whatsoever. They don't give a fuck. It's just cartoon characters, basically.
Pretty much. They were the bullies in the cartoon segments, basically.
Yeah, really. I mean, Fats even looked like a fat ass bully in the cartoon segment. But yeah, man. So of course these three characters get their comeuppance, and in a variety of ways. But let's talk about it. Besides the wife here, which we thought was wooden.
Yeah.
Anybody else that rubbed you the wrong way?
Not really. Like I was ready to hate Fats, but yeah, he grew on me. I thought everybody else did a good job. The douche Indian guy was douchey enough. I wanted to see him die, and I will say that I kind of liked that he got the most satisfying death.
Yeah. Because
Fats' death kind of stunk. It was just like, oh, he just gets arrowed, okay. But then they get increasingly more, and they save the best one for him, which was cool. But yeah, everybody else was good. The little old guy was like, oh, this little old guy, I want to hang out with this little old guy. So yeah, I liked it.
Well, how did we end up in the old guy?
Oh, well, we're talking about the actors.
Old guy. Yeah, no, yeah. Everybody's fucking great in this.
Yeah,
man.
Old guy's great.
I love it. Yeah, again, great.
Indian guy's pretty good.
Great way to make you cheer for someone, and on the opposite end, make you hate. The end.
Or make you assholes. Both with Fats.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, and then, you know what? I kind of like him.
I kind of like Fats.
Yep.
Now I'm trying desperately to find my stupid ass notes here. Okay, let's talk about the effects in this little ditty. What did you think overall? Well, let's get to the big one here, and that's Chief Woodenhead. What did you think? Basically, it's a full body prosthetic. Is basically what we're talking about here.
It's weird because at times I thought he looked really cool, but at others he looked kind of fake, obviously, because he's freaking fake. But I thought when it mattered, it looked good.
Mm-hmm.
And like whenever it was like the full body movement, I thought that looked cool. But you know how they did like a couple of those little furrowed brows, and I thought that looked kind of corny because it just looked like rubber. But when it mattered, it looked cool, and for the most part, it looked good.
I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I loved it through and through. I thought it looks great, including the furrowed brow shit.
I really didn't like the furrowed brow.
I absolutely love it, man.
I was like,
I thought it was fantastic.
Oh man, that's rubber.
And they made it look like, he looks like a wooden guy. It looks like, and the sound design in this just kind of sells it all the more. The movement.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
The movement. You didn't like the sound design?
I thought it was kind of overdone.
I mean, he's wood. He's
creaking. But it was like every 2 seconds, like. I was like, all right. But I mean, I get why they put it there. I didn't hate it.
I'm gonna totally disagree with that. I thought it worked fantastic in the movie. Oops, just hit our vital chord there.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, I'm on the opposite end of that. I gotta say, I absolutely love the effect for the chief. But speaking of chiefs, I just heard you queef because you have a vagina apparently.
All right.
Now the other effects are the kill effects here, and again, you called them. What'd you call them?
Oh, I didn't say anything.
Yeah, you said they were cutting corners or what?
Oh yeah, one of them with the shadow because it was just like a little blood splatter that they showed.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Because at least it was like like you said, at least it was a neat looking, like it was a shadow and then. Whoosh. I thought Fats' death kind of stunk mainly because I wanted him to die in a more gruesome way, but really all it is just like a little cut to him having an arrow in him. But the other guy was cool.
Again, I'm gonna be. I mean, I know you're not saying they sucked.
No, they're just kind of disappointing.
But I'm gonna be on the other end spectrum entirely to that and say that I actually really, really like the deaths in this. Not only in terms of the effects, which I thought fit whatever the hell they were, and in terms of the shadow one, I thought that was just cool. Visually speaking, I thought it was really neat looking. But the deaths fit the characters. For example, Fats dies gorging himself, and it's literally the food and what he's drinking is literally pinned to him. The other guy dies as he, mourns the loss of what he loves, material goods, and it leads him to his death. And we don't even see him. We see the car, the very thing that he was obsessed with. And then the third death, the vainglorious fucking asshole gets the very thing that he holds most pride. I'm sorry, the thing that gives him the most pride, his hair, his beauty, his source of beauty and power, according to the little parable he tells at the beginning. He gets it chopped off. So I thought the deaths fit the characters, and I thought they were very intentional that way. And again, I really like that fucking shot in the second one. And it's been used 1,000 times since then and before. But it looked really cool. But so yeah, I'm on that end of the spectrum in terms of the effects. Tell us what you think. Do you agree with fats or fats? Because we're both horribly fat. But
yeah,
anyway.
I thought like the meaning behind them was cool. Just effects wise, it wasn't super spantastic, which apparently is a word that I just made up.
Spantastic is in fact a word.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's talk about the score in this, which I think of the 3 segments, this has the best score. It's really awesome, especially when the chief is about to go on the warpath. I'm not really using these Native American terms here, but when he's about to go on the warpath, the fucking little theme he gets, gotta say I love it. What do you think about the score in this particular segment?
In this particular one, yeah, it's the best one.
Yeah.
It's not saying much, though.
It's pretty awesome. I really loved it. We'll get to the wraparound score because that has the theme, but we'll get to that in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we're going to talk kind of about the visual feel of this one in terms of what is being portrayed on the screen. But just to bring it up again, there are some really nice shots in here. The overhead shot, the shadow shot, stuff like that. And again, you pointed this out in the first one, but again, that kind of hazy look is very present
in this one, yeah.
In this particular version that we saw, which is the hazy look that we remember in the first one. It's here as well, so that was nice to see come back. But anyway, let's go back. Let's go forward.
Yep. So that's how time works.
Let me do this instead of this, and I don't know why I'm doing this.
Nope. Because fishing. What do you?
Yes,
rafts.
Our next story is the raft, the one actually based on a Stephen King story, and this one's pretty simple. A bunch of college douchebags, basically.
Logan and Jake Paul.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? That's what I thought too.
The whole time I was like, oh man, this guy's Logan Paul, dude.
The fucking Paul brothers and their respective girlfriends or would-be girlfriends go on a weekend excursion to a local lake tucked away in the middle of nowhere.
To swim, I guess.
Yeah, to swim and float on a raft that they've heard about. And
I guess if you don't have internet, that's something to do in a weekend. Right?
that's how it used to be.
Go out in the raft.
That's kind of like the plot of most of Friday the 13th
movies.
That's a good point. Let's just go out there to this camp
to float.
But anyway, these guys go to have some weekend fun, and they're drugging and boozing, and they take the girls for fucking.
Yep.
But so they go out to this raft, man, and they're accosted, nay,
by a trash bag,
besieged by a weird creature floating in the water. That it's good you said that because. The creators of this, and even Stephen King himself, have all bemoaned the existence of this effect.
Oh,
and that is to say, the creature itself that surrounds the raft and floats around in the lake, calling it literally a trash bag thrown in the water, or alternatively a fucking overcoat thrown in the water, just floating around. And they've just harped about it to death, and I really think they're being hard on themselves because I think the effect works. At times it looks like that, but you know what? The fucking glint of the sun off of it, how weird it looks when the texture of it when they shoot it from above. I thought the effect worked. It never bothered me one fucking bit.
Well, I'll mostly agree with you on that. I didn't mind the effect that too much. It does look like a trash bag, but there is little scenes. Like you said, when they show it from above and it's kind of swimming, I thought that looked cool.
Yeah. And it's the same fucking thing. We're just seeing it from different angles.
Yeah, and then when they kind of show the close-ups and the texture, it's not that. Here's the thing: it is just a trash bag, and it looks like one, and visually it's nothing spectacular, but it kind of, for me at least, it's more like I want to know what that is.
Yeah.
And thus, I'm kind of like,
you know what?
Right? I'm a little bit like interested into the effect, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. It kind of reminded me of like a single-celled organism floating in a pool of fluids. That's kind of what it looked like, and that's kind of what we sort of can assume it is.
I guess, I don't know.
That's how organisms kind of eat. They just consume whatever's around them. Under the microscope. Let's take a peek.
I think that's the best part. I'm just gonna give my overall thought about this one right away. Mm-hmm. I think that's the best part of this one. Is for me, I was kind of the whole time I was like, I want to know what this thing is, and it kind of made me curious of what it was.
Right.
So in that sense, it's kind of cool and it kind of works.
Yeah.
Because I mean, really, the story's nothing great. It's just like assholes going out there. And,
it's a pretty straightforward. Yeah. Pick them off one by one.
What it works at is making me go,
Well, yeah. Where did this come from? Why is it there?
Yeah, kind of like The Mist. Only if The Mist had none of the cool, intriguing story in the middle.
Okay.
You'd like want to know what it is.
Yeah. Again, this is kind of like a stage show for the monster. It's not really about these characters or anything like that. And once again, George Romero can't really write young people, and
it's not
so he makes them complete douchebags, which is fine. Whereas in Diary of the Dead, his characters were just like flat, at least the young ones. Here, they're just 80s douchebags.
At least you're meant to hate them.
Yeah, and so they're disposable fodder.
Yeah.
So let's get into the characters. Anybody that bothered you?
The main guy.
I gotta say,
worth a shit.
Can't act worth. Now, if you want to talk wooden, that's wood. That fucking guy sucks.
That guy was more wooden than the raft.
But yep, there's a lot of wood. There's a lot of fucking wood in this movie.
Would you watch this movie?
I got some wood right now, but that's a whole different video.
All right,
coming soon.
Pornhub.
Give it a thumbs down. But anyway, yeah, man. He was wooden. But you know what? Again, these are disposable characters, and they're meant to be disposable, so perfectly fine. Yeah. And he's supposed to be the most likable of the bunch, so
woo!
I guess.
I gotta say, I would rather hang out with Logan than Jake.
I don't know about that.
In this realm, at least Logan had some fun.
I will say this.
I don't know their names. I'm just calling them by Logan.
Of the characters, his friend and his friend's girlfriend. My God, if this chick was my girlfriend. There's a point where the guy threatens physical violence because she won't shut the hell up. I gotta say, I was like, I'm with you, bud.
It's pretty funny.
This.
Yeah.
Shut this woman up! I'll be crap.
Just wasn't good.
We're getting attacked here, and you're fucking harping like a harpy, I guess. But this shit.
Now it is kind of weird when Jake, aka Woods, decides to go all Harvey Weinstein on her.
Yeah, okay, look, it's good you brought that. If I have, besides the wooden actor here, if I have one major problem with this particular segment, is that scene.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, so if you haven't seen the movie, there's a point where basically, there are 4 of them. 2 of them have been picked off, and there's only our main character, I guess, who we're supposed to be sympathetic towards.
I guess.
And not his girlfriend, not the girl he liked, but his friend's girlfriend, which has survived as well. And the raft has already swallowed one of them whole.
Or not the raft.
Oh, I'm sorry, not the raft. The creature has already swallowed one of them whole and sucked the other through the gaps in the slats.
I actually like that effect.
Yeah. We'll talk about that right now. But so these 2 are left, and there is no chemistry between them. There's not supposed to be any chemistry between them.
Nope.
And
they're kind of like taking turns.
Yeah, they're holding up a vigil for each other because if they go to sleep, it might, both of them go to sleep, they might get eaten by the raft. Anyway, long story short, they wake.
You keep calling the creature the raft.
I'm sorry, the creature. In the morning, they both fallen asleep, but the creature has not eaten them, and he kind of wakes up and he's kind of getting sweet on her.
I guess.
Except she's asleep,
and he's like groping.
He's just straight up went to feeling her up.
Yep, Harvey Weinstein.
And now, it's like, why? I mean, I realize he's a guy, and some guys are complete pervs.
Maybe it was like a way to make you want him to die, but I already wanted him to die. He sucked.
Well, I don't think it even was that. It was just kind of like...
It was weird.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so he's a creep in college. I mean, well, that's expected, but still, it was weird. It was weird. I think the better way they could have done this is they both fall asleep. He wakes up. He tries to wake her up, and what happens in the movie happens.
You know what I thought?
He turns her over, and she's already being consumed. And
you know what I didn't think this was going to happen. I had already seen this movie, but what I kind of wanted to happen, I wanted him to like go evil on her and just throw her in and try to outrun the raft, as you call it, and then it eats him. That would have been better than.
I mean, he kind of does that. He takes advantage of the fact that she's being eaten.
Yeah, I know, but like instead of having that weird feel out segment, just have him be like, she's asleep, huh? And then throw her in and then try to outrun it. Instead, we have a weird Harvey segment.
We would have been totally okay with that because she was a shrill harpy.
Oh yeah, she sucked. I would have done that.
Yeah, chuck her into this fucking
raft
creature. But
anyway,
yeah, that was weird. I don't understand. I mean, again,
I guess
he was a perv, I guess, but that was weird. I would have just gone for the he wakes up, she's already fucked over. So, yeah, strange. Now let's talk about the effects in this. Okay, you already kind of touched on that. Do you want to continue that thought?
I would like I said, I understand why someone would shit on the effect, but I thought it worked. It did its thing whenever it needed to do its thing. I actually really like that overhead shot where it looks like it's kind of like going forward at full speed. I like the part where Logan gets swallowed into the thing.
Yeah, through the raft.
Yeah, I thought that leg actually looked pretty good. I don't know if it was a fake leg or just someone else's leg sticking out, but it looked convincing. Like the dissolving effects were fine. It would have been cool to see some bone or whatever, but they look cool anyway, so... I mean, I guess you do get a little bone at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I actually really enjoy. I think they're really being hard on themselves, and I understand this was probably the most frustrating effect to get across. And
how are we gonna make this thing?
Yeah, they
cool.
didn't really feel they made it come across. But I think as a viewer, and especially again seeing this time and time again, I've just grown to appreciate it a lot more. It looks good. It looked convincing. I never really think, oh look, floating bag. I was like, that's a creature. And I like, again, those overhead shots where it gives you the texture.
Yeah.
That really helps in communicating that. And on top of that, I like that they kept, like in the story, which, by the way, just get this off real quick, it's pretty much the story. It's pretty straightforward. A weird
scene with Guy groping?
No, but yeah, man, it's pretty much the story as it is. And so anyway, but yeah, in terms of this creature, I thought it worked. I like the gooey slime, caustic, kind of acidic decay that it causes. It's pretty neat. Do I feel it could have gone a little further? Sure, it would have been neat to get a full-on 80s human melt. Would
have been cool.
But what we get is pretty neat. It's nice to see the little tendrils it has. It shoots out. It's pretty neat effect. I actually really enjoyed it. But my favorite part is when the first victim is staring at it, and you see it communicates the hypnotic effect it has on people, which is something that is in the story, but people see colors and kind of like an oil slick, which is what it really is supposed to look like. They see colors and that it, entices them to go to it. So they do that with that particular character, and I like that, man. It's pretty neat. I also really like how it disposes of our hero, our rapist hero. Yeah. That's pretty neat. Again, he sucks as an actor, but he swims away from it while it consumes the girl he just groped. He gets to the shore.
Then like an ass bag, it decides to gloat.
Yeah, he gloats, and it just looms over him and swallows him, and then the next shot,
it's just like going away.
Yeah, gliding away.
I did like the end shot where it pans, like kind of slowly pans to the little no swimming
to the
thing,
no swimming sign,
because that's totally out of one of those comics.
Yeah,
so I like that. That was cool.
And okay, I want your opinion on this. What did you think of the burp? I know a lot of people hate that it burps. I think
it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you said that because it's, again, straight out of those comics. That's what would have happened in one of those comics.
Here's the thing. I don't see why you would hate that. Mm-hmm. I don't like it, but whatever. That didn't bother me. Yeah.
I was okay with it.
It was a little bit corny, but I mean, what do you expect?
I mean, that's what these comics are supposed to be. They're supposed to be cheeseball, ham-fisted affairs. So
I guess, it was fine. I didn't care about the burp.
It definitely wasn't the Thing's burp in Fantastic Four, which caused us to immediately leave that movie. Fuck that shit. But anyway,
I would have liked to have seen a little more, just as a closing on this one. Mm-hmm. It would have been cool to see a little more of the melt effects.
Yeah.
We do get a little bit of the Creepshow 1 voice with the last one, where they were still kind of making sounds, but it wasn't really creepy. It would have been cool to have like a more creepy sound to that, but like I said, it would have been cool to see a little more melty effects. But I understand it was probably really low budget or something. But what we got was cool. I don't mind it.
Yeah. So where does this one stand?
This is probably still my least favorite.
Okay. And okay, so the final thing to talk about here about this particular segment is the score, which is basically just rock tracks.
Yeah.
Which again
really
fits the characters. They're a bunch of college douchebags, so they're just listening to rock. I will say this: that car has one hell of a battery because it lasted over fucking night. And so that's pretty amazing.
I like how
but we'll talk about batteries lasting forever in the next segment.
The music goes out for a while, and then when the morning comes, it starts back up. That was weird.
It's just because of the proximity. I think
guess
that's what they were going for, was the proximity. But anyway, let's get on to the third and final segment, and that's the Hitchhiker. Again, this is based much more on an urban legend than anything, and basically an adulteress that is all about that lifestyle, and married to some rich. She basically married into money, some rich lawyer type. She leaves her gigolo and heads on home, and basically hits somebody on the way home.
Yeah.
So a hitchhiker, to be precise, obviously by the title.
He was a black guy.
He was a black guy. Yeah, he was a black guy, and he just keeps on coming back and thanking her for the ride, and that's basically the whole fucking thing. But they again, this particular event is strung out for a good maybe 30, 20 minutes. And again, it's more of a play on her guilt, or did it happen?
Or is it?
So... Yeah.
This is a classic tale.
Let's talk about this. Okay, by default, this will be your first favorite. You already notched the other two.
I think
2 and 3
because of. Now here's the thing. I want to address this before we start. If I'm glad I didn't put it though. If I were to redo our childhood fears, I would have put this one in there, because I remember when we were a kid. When I was a kid, you showed me this. This one scared the shit out of me. I was even a little nervous going into it. Didn't have that effect on me this time, but I guess I'm kind of fond of it because it grew to some sort of mythical status in my head. But I do think that if it had a lot of potential. Like if it had some of the creepy voice that there was in part 1. Like the ghouls that come back.
Yeah, the gurgling.
That would have been awesome. Sound. If they had done that in this, it would have been creepy as shit. Unfortunately, we don't get that, but if they had done that, I thought it would have been really good. If the score was different, it would have been cool. But I still really like it. It's more like I kind of would like to see this done in part 1, kind of in my head, I guess.
Yeah, this is a really strong entry. Though it is very, very simplistic and to the point.
Yeah, it really is.
And it is a moralistic tale like Chief Woodenhead is.
Yeah.
So that's good. That being said, while and this used to be my favorite. The first time I saw it, this was my favorite. But after that, it was just Chief Woodenhead across the board. But I will say this. Its effectiveness has weakened with each progressive viewing. It's still my second favorite of the bunch, of these particular 3. But its effect has progressively weakened with each viewing. Does that mean it's a bad segment? No, not at all. It's actually pretty fucking cool. But we'll talk about why that is as we go down the list.
And I agree with you, because this one used to scare the shit out of me.
Yeah. Now, I will be on the opposite end of you in that, while, yes, it would have been awesome to hear that guttural, weird zombie effect, voice effect that they had in the first one.
I liked it too. Yeah.
I kind of like that he's just
kind of like cheery almost. Not really, but
yeah, he keeps the same tone when he's saying thanks for the ride, lady.
It just kind of gets more decayed.
But the fact that it's still very human, adds an extra layer of it makes it more unsettling.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. It would have been cool if they had saved the weird zombie voice for the end. When he's already all hideous,
beyond repair. Yeah,
that would have been cool. That was something I would like to have seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still think it's surprisingly effective, this one.
Okay, let's talk about the effects in this, because they do kind of play front and center role. In the whole
this was probably the most heavy.
This is basically a 2-person affair. There are other people with
this is kind
very small roles.
I know it's not similar in a lot of ways, but it kind of reminded me of the last story from Creepshow 1, where it's one person kind of talking to themselves the whole time. Yeah. And then an evil comes, Yeah. So yeah, it's very similar to the last one in the first movie, in that it's like a person kind of slowly going insane, basically. And that's pretty good.
Okay.
I was hoping you would take it over before I had to finish that sentence.
I was confused because I thought it was going to an effects thing because we started the effects part, but.
Well, no, it's because you said it's a 2-person affair.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it like threw me completely off the rails. Yeah, no, I know what you're getting at.
One of the person is an effect.
There you go. Good segue. But no, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. It is very reminiscent of that, and I like. Some of the dialogue was a bit on the nose.
Yeah.
But it's fine, because these comics are sometimes pretty blunt and stupid, and that's fine. It works for the material, and it gets across the point of the fucking story, which is the whole thing with these tales. We're trying to make it about the moral here, despite how gruesome they might be. But yeah. Anyway, let's get to the effects real quick. Again, they're very front and center because it is a 2-person affair, and one of these person eventually becomes a living effect by the fucking end, but this lady hits the guy, so that's already, you've kind of fucked the person up physically. And as this revenant keeps coming back and back and back again, she just basically fucks him up more and more and more with her car, no less. And he gets progressively more foobar, for lack of better words. That's not a word, but anyway. What did you think about these effects? Did they hold up? Did they not hold up?
For the most part, yeah. I would say the last scare. I'm telling you, in my mind, it was horrifying. In my mind, it was the stuff of nightmares. Upon rewatching, I was like, well, that's a puppet.
Yeah, that is really the biggest strike against it, because it works very well up to that point. Even when it is clearly an effect, like at one point he's just a dummy, but it works.
The one where she runs him over, I thought that looked fine.
Despite that, it works. But that last final, it's really just kind of like a jump scare.
Yeah.
That last final jump scare, he's a puppet. And even that would have been like 100% great if the puppet looked a little bit more human than it does.
Yeah.
I realize he's supposed to be all smashed in and crushed and gory. But
I like the idea behind the look. Like his tongue's all flopping out and stuff.
It just doesn't gel completely.
Yeah, there was something about the eyes being out too much, and it kind of just looked like a mad ball, like a really shitty mad ball. But I like the idea behind the look. It just kind of looked a little weird. Like it was a little too stiff, and it was kind of... I will say that once it like kind of attacks her, it looks a little bit better, but then it kind of goes on a little too long. And you're like,
yes,
man, this not good looking.
I agree. It should have been. He pops out as he does. He says his line, which is the only line he says. But thanks for the ride, lady. I love that. Cool. I love that. And then he juts into the fucking car and slams up against her. Says the line one more time. She screams. And cut to the next shot. But they kind of hold it. Yeah, they hold it a little bit longer.
And you start seeing like the seams on it. And it kind of loses some
effectiveness. Yeah. I will say the effects work best around the scene where she's ramming him in her car.
Oh yeah.
With him up against the tree. And
that was cool.
The fact that this guy, Tom Wright, by the way, played this guy. The fact that he's black really helped the effects.
Yeah.
Because. This kind of sounds fucked up, but his skin color...
It hides the seams.
It hides the seams, and it makes the entire effect look... Yeah, I mean, they could have just drenched him in blood, and it would have looked like his skin was tearing, and there was bone and gristle sticking out, because it was indistinguishable where the line between his actual skin tone and the blood was. Yeah.
And that's nothing against... I mean, it sounds it sounds a little messed up, but it's true.
Like, it's the fact that he's black that helped the effect.
The color really helped. The gore kind of, because you're right. It was kind of hard to tell where his skin ended, and it just kind of made it even more disturbing.
Yeah, your mind's always working on, what am I seeing? That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's why the last shot doesn't work, because it gives you too much time to go. This is what I'm seeing. Whereas those other shots, you're still like, man, he's moving, he's talking, the effect, where does it start? Your mind never quite grasps onto it. So it works wonderfully there. Yeah. Absolutely wonderfully there. But
I do like, man, this guy's beanie game is strong, though. That beanie never falls.
It's an Ethan beanie.
Yep.
It's the God beanie. Yeah, man, he does a great job. He's fantastic. So the effects there, you got the score on those. But speaking of score, let's talk about this fucking score.
I hated this one. I absolutely hated this score.
Every segment gets its own distinctive taste, and that goes across the board with music as well. And this one, it's the most intense fucking score I've ever heard.
Bad.
What the hell?
Dude, I wanted to punch the score in the face.
You know what? I know you hate it. I kind of love it. It made me laugh.
It's good. I mean, it's good in a bad way.
Yeah, it's so over the top that I can't help but enjoy it.
Why
it's not good.
Here's why I didn't like it, though. Because I would have been fine if it was like over the top and then like, oh, this story's corny and this score fits. But it reduced so much of the effectiveness in some of the scenes for me. Like, if you really think about it, the scene where he's like on the roof is kind of disturbing. Mm-hmm. Like imagine like a weird ghoul in your roof and it won't let go and she's trying to get rid of it. But this score is like, and I'm like, oh my god!
It even had like touches of disco in there.
There was like some funk in there. Like freaking Stevie Wonder came out and was neo dodging and shit.
I expected John Carpenter to come across the back with his bass guitar doing this.
So like, I understand your point of like it's so shitty you kind of like it, but I wish this had a more eerie score because it would have been so much more creepy.
I'm like totally on board with you. Don't get me wrong. As a score for what is being presented, it's absolutely the wrong score. It doesn't work with it. Doesn't gel with it. It doesn't even the spikes and crescendos of the music don't even.
They're not even synced.
Yeah, they don't sink into the jump scares at all. But again, it's so confusingly out of place and so bonkers over the top that at one point I was like, fucking shit, I love this thing. It sucks so bad. The score sucks so awfully bad.
It's so bad
that I can't not love it.
So this is another reason why I said I would have liked to have, I mean, it wouldn't have fit in that movie, but I would have liked to have seen this one done in part 1. It wouldn't have fit in the movie, but I would have liked to have seen it with that score, with some of those sound effects, and with the better effects. Because I think it could have been really creepy. Yeah. Like, really creepy. And it still is at times. But the shortfallings of being in this movie, as opposed to the first one, just from, like, a, budget and the effects and whoever freaking scored this segment was shit, kind of drag it down a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I get you. I get you completely. Now, we do have a cameo here from Stephen King as a trucker.
He was pretty great.
When she first hits the hitchhiker, when our main character first hits the hitchhiker and she leaves the scene, a couple of people drive up on the body, and one of them is just some random schmo with his mega 80s phone.
Yep.
And the other one is Stephen King as a truck driver who instantly exclaims, that's a black guy, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know why, man, but that made me laugh so fucking hard.
It's pretty great. I don't know why he reminded me of Dan Aykroyd.
Right? Yeah, completely. In the Twilight Zone, no less.
Yeah!
So, an anthology movie.
The only thing I was even gonna say, he should be here in Credence.
Yeah, no shit. He should have really. He should be that ghoul. He should be behind all of this.
Damn, he should be that ghoul.
And I guess he kind of is because it's based kind of on his work and the influences. So, Stephen King is Dan Aykroyd. You heard it here first.
Yep.
But anyway, the wraparound story is an animated story following some fucking kid. Mm-hmm. And, again, like the first one, we just basically have the kid's vengeance enacted. This time it feels a little bit more like the people that get it deserved it.
Yeah.
Because the kid in the first one...
It was just kind of insane.
Yeah, kind of fucked over his pops just because he threw away his comic.
Yeah.
This one is being accosted by bullies. Very Stephen King-esque bullies, by the way.
Yeah.
The first time I saw this movie, like I said previously, the animated stuff just rubbed me the wrong way. And it's, again, I think I was young and I just wanted more live action stuff. But it's grown on me, man. I really fucking like the animated stuff. Of course, it's not my favorite thing in the movie, but I actually kind of liked it a lot, even more this time. Especially the creep sections. They're pretty neat. And again, it fits with the idea of the first one and what these comics, presented to youths, especially like in their advertisements, which again touches on what the first one did. So yeah, I'm actually nowadays pretty okay with this score. I mean, pretty okay with this particular wraparound. What do you think? Do you hate it? Do you love it?
I actually always liked this one, this wraparound. And I still do. I still really like it. I like how weird and over animated some of the stuff is.
I like those close-ups and
shit. Man, like that old guy in the beginning is like, oh my god, he's grotesque. And like everything, like someone's talking, yet it's like it's like, what the hell? It's just this one bully that has like gap in his tooth that's just like moving for some reason. But I kind of like it. And like you said, it does keep that spirit of the comics.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was a cool way. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna say the first one was better, in doing that, because you mostly just saw like our ads like right away.
Yeah, it was literally page turning.
This one, it kind of brings that stuff to life, which is cool. But in its own way, I think I really liked it. I really liked that wraparound, and I like that it continues throughout the whole.
Yeah, that was a neat touch. That it wasn't just literally
in the beginning and the end. It was throughout. It continues.
Yeah, really cool. Again, when it transitions back to live action, really neat. The last shot in this, super cool, man. It's just really the Creeps news vehicle driving a news van driving away.
It would have been cool.
It's neat.
It would have been cool to see more of him live action. Because he's only really there for a little bit in the beginning and a little bit at the end. But it was cool to see anyway. Maybe that's what you wanted, and when you
I guess, yeah.
But it was cool.
I think when I was a kid, I was more like, why doesn't he look like the first iteration of the Creed?
Yeah.
Why don't we get more? I was dumbass apparently, but I absolutely love it like you do. I love it, and I've got to love it even more as time passes on. This opening and closing. Now I will say this: the theme, the new Creepshow theme that they create in this one, even when it gets to that weird point where all of a sudden it turns to something else.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it way more than the theme in the first one. Although the first one evokes a lot more, of a haunting mood. I love this one. It has like a vibrant, mischievous spirit. And then it gets to that point where you're like, what the fuck? Why did it turn into this? But I love it, man. I absolutely love the theme in this. What'd you think? Did you hate it? Did you like it?
I didn't hate it, but there was that one part where I was like, oh man. I just really I'm going to be a little bit unfair because I think a lot of people are being unfair to this movie. So I'm going to be unfair once and say that I love the theme from the first movie so much that it was kind of lame not to see it come back.
Yeah.
Because the first one has that feels. I mean, I understand why it's not in here. They're doing their own thing. To me, it wasn't as cool, the theme. Or like as quickly, like, yeah, I'm into this, as the first one was to me. And I still find that first score in the first movie so creepy. This one wasn't as effective, but I wouldn't say it was shit. Except for in that one bit, and then that one story where it's completely garbage. But the theme, it was okay.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite end of that. I love the theme. Now, the music was done by Les Reed and Rick Wakeman, so I don't know who's responsible for the music in The Hitchhiker, but whoever it is,
freaking blows.
You need to get punched in the nuts.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck? And at the same time, thank you for making me laugh, because what the fuck?
I will say this. It was wise to give it a new soundtrack, a new feel, because of how well the score was entwined with the first movie, with each story, and that one has a very unique sound, so it was kind of smart to give it a different score.
In the end, this is Michael Gornick's movie, and it's not. The spirit of the first one is alive in it, but visually,
it's a different movie.
It's very different. Yeah. But you know what it feels like? I don't know if you got this feeling, but a Tales from the Crypt comic would always feel different to me than the Vault of Horror comic.
Exactly, yeah.
Even though they were literally the exact same fucking thing.
You can always tell, even when they were like mixed, on those reprints, you can always tell when one's a Tales from the Crypt, one's a Vault.
Yeah.
One's a weird science, whatever.
Yeah, I think the biggest touch for me was if you went even from Tales from the Crypt or Vault to The Haunt of Fear, because the witch telling the stories was a lot vastly different. And
they tend to be a little more dark.
They definitely were a lot gorier, a lot weirder. She delved. The stories were written with her delving more into the past, and there was a lot more. She did the fairy tale thing. Yeah. So it kind of felt like this. Like this was another
print.
Another horror host. So in some ways we did get that because he looked completely different. But anyway, let's give this final rating. We're kind of have to give.
Though in reality, he's more of a. What would he be? He's not the Crypt Keeper. He would be like. Yeah, he would be more like the Vault Keeper, maybe mix with a little old witch.
The creep in the second one kind of looks like, or kind of is reminiscent of the Vault Keeper.
He does look like the Vault Keeper, but he acts more like the old witch.
Yeah, I'd say
definitely not the Crypt Keeper. Anyway, that doesn't matter. I just wanted to.
I mean, they're really the same. They're a bunch of punning jackasses.
I would say, but the Crypt Keeper
visually he looks like the Vault Keeper.
Yeah, the Crypt Keeper's a little more serious than the old witch.
Yeah.
Anyway, doesn't matter. That's just for losers who care about that.
Totally knocked me off the rails there. But anyway, let's rate this son of a bitch. First of all, in terms of Stephen King, which again, very minimal, very minimal here. Literally just one story, and then he appears in it. Is it a hit or is it shit?
It's a hit.
Yeah, again, like the first Creepshow, you gotta have a love for this type of stuff. And if you do, then this is a hit. And I recommend, if you've seen it before and it didn't quite hit the right note with you, I recommend seeing it again. Because with me, again, like I said, every time I watch it, it's grown on me a lot more.
I would definitely recommend watching this a little bit after Creepshow or separating yourself a little bit from Creepshow, because it will make you enjoy it a lot more. Because you won't have that in your head, like I'm going to compare these two, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I agree with you.
I think, and you're absolutely right. If this is your first go round, you should do that. I think however you've seen these movies before and you're familiar with them, it's time to just accept. I think again, and that was the case for me, and I think for a lot of people, it might be the same. It's just time to accept that this is the movie that's been made. So see it for what it is, and accept it as such, because that's what it is. You can't fucking go back in time and change it, and then you'll begin to see the better sides of it, So but if it's your first go around, of course, I mean,
you gotta have
chill
some
out,
breathing,
get a little breathing room.
Because I mean, the first one you have 5 stories, this one you get 3, and it goes quick. This is a quick watch. It's 89 minutes, so. But I would say even if it wasn't as good as the first one, like at all, I would still enjoy it quite, because it's really fun. It's a fun movie. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's an amazing movie, but it's a very fun movie.
So let's give it the final score on a scale of 1 to 10. Hit it.
I gave Creepshow 1 a 10. I'm gonna give this one a 7.5, just because of some of the faults I've already talked about. Mainly that guy's score, which stinks in the Hitchhiker. But again, I really liked it. I actually liked it more this time around. Because I remember the first time I was a little disappointed, which I guess a lot of people were also. But this time I actually liked it quite a bit more, despite not being scared by the Hitchhiker this time around. I was a little sad. I wasn't that scared.
I'm going to give it, like you, a 7.5. But I do view this, like I said already, a lot more favorably now and I don't know how many times I've seen this thing, but like I said, each time just a little bit more. I'm like, man, this is a really cool movie, and it's really fun.
To close it off on, I know I cut you off a little bit, but you can throw it in here. To close it off on, what in your mind? What changed?
What?
You know what I mean?
What changed?
What got better? What got worse? I'll tell you mine real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
The Hitchhiker wasn't as scary this time around. I actually liked the raft this time around. Didn't like it the first time. Although I did kind of like the creature. I'm not going to lie. I was always like, what is it? I want to know. But I remember being annoyed by the raft quite a bit the first time. But I actually like it this time. And Chief Wonder Head was a little bit less cool. Because I remember loving that one. And this time around, it was a little bit less cool. But again, I still like it. And the one thing that didn't change was I still like that wraparound. Quite a bit.
For me, again, by now it's cemented that I love this movie. So I'll go back in time and tell you what changed. Yeah, the first time I noticed change was... One for me, one was a big one. I didn't like the wraparound as much. And again, I think it had to do with me being... I want more of what happened in the first one. Mm-hmm. But that was a big change. When I went from not liking the wraparound, I would actually remember skipping the wraparound and just going to the stories.
I always liked that.
But so that was one big change. I love the wraparound now. I can't imagine seeing it without the wraparound. Yeah. Absolutely love that. I mean, I can't get over how much I love that. Because again, harkens back to those comics.
Yeah.
And Woodenhead has always been fucking my favorite, period. I mean, that's not going to change. I absolutely love it. So nothing there, really. The Raft, again, I've grown to like it more. I will say, I liked it from the first time. I still like the creature. It still astonishes me that they're so down on it. I understand why. But that fucking guy...
He's not good!
Being a total creep.
Yeah, that. I thought you meant his wooden...
I mean, he's not good, period. But... I mean, I always knew that.
What is up with that, man?
Him being a creep was like really maybe it's because we're in the Harvey Weinstein era, but I was like, man, this guy's just straight up just going for it.
Yep.
He's being a total creep at the most inopportune time.
There's literally a freaking creature next to you who's gonna eat your face. What are you thinking about teats, dude?
Yep.
Anyway.
To be fair, I'm thinking about teats right now. But
anyway. Lie? I was like, I'll probably do that too.
Harvey Weinstein 2.0.
Yep.
And as for the Hitchhiker, like you... The impact has lessened, but I've come to enjoy it in a completely different way, and it has to do with that crappy ass score.
Damn that score, dude.
But anyway, this is a blast of a movie. Don't let our tearing it down in some respects make you think otherwise. It is very fun. If you like the first one, you'll like this one. If you already seen these and you still remember this as being lesser, again, you got to remember this is somebody else doing this thing, and they do pay, in some ways, a lot more homage to the comics, and it deserves note for that. It's cool, man.
You know what's kind of weird? I don't know where this was filmed. Where was this filmed? Do you know?
I don't recall. No.
The wraparound stuff with the live action reminded, like the location reminded me of the old Vault of Horror movie, from the 70s. It just looked like it for some reason.
Yeah.
And anyway, that's something that popped in my head while I was watching it.
Very apropos.
Yep.
It was probably filmed around Pittsburgh, by the way, because Romero was involved.
So definitely not England.
Yeah, definitely not that.
All right.
I mean, it's New England, so there's that. Yeah. But anyway.
We should maybe hit those movies because they're pretty good.
Yes, we should. This has been Ahab and the Goontick. And we just decided this was a hit.
Oh.
Check out our other Stephen King's. We weren't sucking cock, so I don't know what the hell that was about. Check out our other Stephen King's Hit or Hit. Shit or Hit. It's pretty cool when I remember the name of the series. And some of our movie series and some of our skits, some of our weird random bullshit that we do. Hit like, share, subscribe. Hit those notifications. Tell us what you think. Are we completely wrong? Most likely. What do you think about this movie? What do you think about anything? Should we be naked doing this?
Yeah.
Most likely. But we're out.